Okay, this is the first time that at Steim we started to see the beneficial aspects of making exhibitions, as to see that the instruments that we built could be tested by the audience, especially children proved to be our best guinea pigs. We really liked the fact that they would try out everything, and we have continued using this idea that started really on this little attic. We've continued to use that idea that children are the best data testers around, because they're not too much interested in how much memory you have or whatever kind of system you use. It should work and it should be good. And so this is really what the exhibitions were about. And you see a lot of different instruments there. There's even just old instruments, people were interested to play with that. There's a little loudspeaker with a contact pad that allows you to short-circuit a battery with that speaker, so that once you would stick a little pen in the cone, that it would be jumped away, so you could really crackle the loudspeaker by making it oscillate on its own movements and mechanical throw away the contact. There's first crackle boxes there, there's the first range of crackle boxes, so this is like a historical image. Later it got a little bit more professional. This is in Bourges in probably 74, 75. One of the first more professionally set up exhibitions with a lot of crackle boxes. Here you can see some children playing with crackle boxes somewhere else. I think it's also in France. And here this was a light crackle instrument. Basically it had a light sensor there and a loudspeaker in the back. And people could just, go along these different light patterns that came out of that box and try little patterns, and they would really control the oscillators inside. Here you see the same setup, but with some crackle instruments in the back, and with balls that can be held by several people. This is one of the first times that we built an instrument that can be played with several people. And the idea is that they would take a ball each and then touch each other, so that through skin contact there would be music and not immediately epidemic. This is another version of the instrument. In this case, people had to take off their shoes and stand on these contact points there. This is a 4-person music instrument with wires to hold in the hand, and each person has its own loudspeaker there. And so by holding, making contacts, and also touching the other people, this could be played. This is the 2-person version that was used later on stage in music theater pieces. I'll show more of that. And this is one of the first exhibitions that we did in an art museum, in the State Museum in Amsterdam. Tried to emulate the real exhibition style at that time, where people wouldn't be able to touch the instruments anymore. This was the first crackle synthesizer, the loudspeakers that we built for it, but also funny radios and all kind of. It was also an imitation of a household, and so it had also a little bit of pastiche about museum life. So we created this crackle home in a then really a hip museum. At this place you see one of the older gardiens that had to take care that nothing got stolen and that people could only touch the right things. It's funny because now the hands and one of the first instruments that are made based on the web principles are in the Science Museum in London, and I was there a few weeks ago and I wasn't allowed to touch it anymore. Very Dutch, this was the first crackle bike. It had all the dynamos were attached directly to the speakers instead of lights, and it made a wonderful sound. Here you see a youngster in France trying it, and this again is the candle, and you blow in the middle and the lights go on. So sometimes it had nothing to do with sound as well. This is the interior of the house. You see here a tea set, which you will see soon. There was a heater, you would turn here, and the longer you turn the heat, the more hot this little electric heater would be. There was telephones that would give you strange answers if you talked in it. There's another set that you'll see in a crackle synthesizer. There was a plant hooked up to a system that would create sound through that lamp. This is the tea set. By pouring tea from the pot in the cups, you would make circuits, and you can imagine that, of course, pouring tea directly on the circuits would be much nicer, which children really did. It's very interesting that we discovered then that there is an issue about building instruments, that the more robust you make the the more robust the user will use it, and the more fragile you make the instrument, either they'll destroy it completely, or what we saw very often, children were like repairing this when they had tried to put the TV on the circuit, which, there was a phone to dry it, we had thought of solutions for them. And it's a very interesting topic actually to be fragile and to trust fragile instruments even to kids. We had the first time that we exhibited this exhibition in a science museum. They had just had one of the first Mercury capsules traveling that had come back into the Earth atmosphere like safely, but didn't survive a week. Children, chipping off little bits. When they saw us come with this, they said it's not going to work, and it did work. It was really nice. We felt very proud actually. But some of the stuff was made to be broken and repaired very easily. So here you see the more decent approach, pouring tea and creating music. There was also like a dinner set, which speaks for itself, and we had invented the Crackle family. This was a vision of the future. Actually, innocent people visiting the exhibition in Rotterdam, and probably they don't know they're being misused for this. If anyone knows, then please, you can refer them to me. This is a theatrical event. It was called Jazz in the Morning. You can see myself and Martin Altena in morning gowns, with lots of crackle gear, and it was again the same decor that we used in the exhibition, and playing with Steve Lacy, a fantastic jazz improviser and composer, and that we worked with, and of course he didn't want to put on morning gowns, he did like our little theatrical approaches, but musically we connected very well. I've put this one in especially because this is one of the few pictures that of early experiments with marionettes that would actually respond to joystick and sound input created on that Putney synthesizer and move around and sing along. And I could also touch the head and it would send some analog, I could influence the crackle circuits in it. So that's why this picture is included. This is a duo that Monique Tugos and I formed, which had a lot of, we use a lot of this equipment. This is called the Hawaii guitar, and it's a bunch of strings with, again, engines and little magnets. So this is really an electromagnetical instrument. There was not much electronics being used, but it was a very good sound instrument. We also used this little crackle podium that I showed before. We would both have a little armband, go bare feet on the little stage, and touch each other, and that would create these hilarious crackle sounds. And we were pretty radical in touching each other on the bare skin. This is actually a completely different approach. Here I had ideas about mobile loudspeakers, and basically on each hand and the feet I had these loudspeakers attached, well there were more than 4, and I would walk around the stage like a kind of elephant while she would recite poems, and the sound would come through these speakers in modified waves. And in the background you see the crackle setup with the mobile loudspeaker and this Hawaii guitar. If I go too much detail. This is in the Roundhouse in London, one of the first electronic music events. I think it was in '71. And here what you don't see is that I'm fencing with this guy that supposedly had come out of the audience and didn't like my music. And then we had this prepared, and the fencing rods, or I don't know how you call it in English, but they were connected to an electrical welding transformer. So it would create incredible sparks, and at the end, when we would get stuck too long, they would really melt into each other. It was a beautiful sound.